the air side, but we still do some boat side work and some mountain work and some mobility work as well. So yeah, we all do a lot.
I want to get into Bosnia now, just because that is a topic that when I saw it in your timeline, I was very fascinated by, because again, not something that really gets talked about much at all. Could you explain to the audience again, kind of what your role in the um, crisis, genocide, whatever we're going to call it, that was ongoing in Eastern Europe at that time, in the Balkans and such, and kind of what the SAS, the British, the Americans, what were you guys called in to do?
Yeah, I went straight across the in as soon as I passed election. Well, I passed 94, then 95. South across. I was across there, but also the unit had been over there many a time because they were they were like even with the best, even now with the best intelligence with drones and everything else we got, you can't beat somebody on the ground. You still need people on the ground. So they would be on the ground basically giving the main int to passing information up. But we'd be disguised as a different unit. And especially when we went across as JCOs, Joint Communication Officers. So we had the under the United Nations flag, the blue berets and all that sort of stuff. But really we were gathering information and stuff like that. And also yeah, you was getting involved, because you were just trying to look after people. Because the genocide, what went on between obviously the Bosnian Serbs, they're the biggest group, and everybody thinks it's just them. But the Croatians, they were just as bad, and the Muslim side as well, and they were all neighbours. But the atrocities, what went on there, it was like on par, but obviously per capita, at certain periods, because we're on par as like the Nazi Holocaust and the Second World War, obviously per capita, what they were doing and the death camps and everything else they had. So we was doing a lot. And basically what we were really after was targeting people, the PIFWICs, we called them. That's person indicted for war crimes. So even though we was over there as a joint communication, they didn't know we were special forces. So we was all over the place and getting involved and also getting up on the front lines, passing live information back of what's going on the ground, because you get information, but it's sketchy. There's nothing better than having live boots on the ground, like the people in there. So that was part of our job, and that went on for a long time. So the persons indicted for war crimes, we went after these guys, and they were terrible. They were the evilness they did to each other, and we got them and sent them to the Hague. So if you think about it, this is what I say. All my career, I spent my career, and it was either PIFWICs, persons indicted for war crimes, terrorists, which are evil, horrible people. That's whether you're from the Northern Ireland terrorist, the loyalist terrorist, or the Republican paramilitaries. They were just evil. They're killing civilians. That to me is that's terrible. Or insurgents. Again, when you're in these other places, they aren't playing by any rules, no Geneva Conventions. So PIFWICs, persons indicted for war crimes, insurgents and terrorists, to me, they're legitimate targets. They're, obviously we try to take them alive and get the best information. But to me, they're scum. Only people I ever felt sorry for is enemy combatants, and I met them obviously in the first Gulf War and then in the next Gulf War and so on. Because a normal combatant, he's doing his job. He's a soldier in uniform, and a lot of times they don't really know what's going on. They're just listening to the propaganda from their government, and and like I said, they put on the front lines and everything. So obviously they're trying to kill you, so you're gonna have to return the favor, so to speak. But it's on mutual respect when if you get a normal combatant, he's an enemy combatant. But to me, a terrorist, an insurgent, or a person indicted for war crimes, these are a different level. And obviously our job is to make sure we apprehend them and capture them, or if need be, whatever, and then bring them to justice.
I'm so happy you brought that up, because that's actually a question I ask a lot of guys. What's it like fighting regime loyalists, like the standing Iraqi military, compared to then Al Qaeda or ISIS or whatever the war criminals in Bosnia or wherever they might be, and they all have the exact same answer that you just gave, that they all sympathize with the run of the mill soldier. He doesn't want to get crushed. He has no interest in going toe to toe with a world superpower. But the terrorism thing is borderline satanic. I mean, it's hard to put into words some of the things those people do.
I believe these people, they're just psychopaths and everything. But what happens is, and I've seen this, persons indicted for war crimes, insurgents, terrorists, when you capture them, they're the most, they are the biggest cowards going. Serious. They just cry, they defecate themselves, they're just, they tell, they've got no respect for them. Whereas at least an enemy combatant, they generally, they would go by the Geneva Convention, or they do have sort of mutual respect. These are just evil. As you can say, what sort of people just get normal civilians or NGOs, the people who are charity workers, and then cut off the heads.
It's just,
You know, and when they get captured, they squeal like pigs. You
oh,
know,
I absolutely. I've heard that from multiple guys as well. One of the things I'm curious about, and I think the viewers are going to be curious about, in a situation like Bosnia, where you're hunting war criminals, it's not your standard war zone like an invasion of Iraq or anything like that. Are you able, like, you're not running around with full kit, are you? With night vision and heavy armor and 6 mags and an M4? Like, you got to dress way down, don't you?
yeah, you're dressing way down, and there's lots of different specific jobs. Some of them I can't talk about for security reasons, but other jobs I can. It was like you're over there gaining information, so they think you were just part of a NATO force, gathering information, but really you're getting information on these because later on, these guys are the ones we want find when it was going to go live and so on. But what happens is basically jobs like that, you get a lot of information about them, and it's a big build-up. So I've gone from flash to bang, from being in everything within 36 hours. You've gone from UK, you've gone back over to Bosnia, you've done a specific job, and then you're back watching TV at home with your family, but you've just been on a crazy job, and where it's been literally lethal action being used, and it's been, but that's all happened within a fast period because there've been a lot of people gathering information who would be over there anyway from our groups, and we rotate round, and same with Northern Ireland. There's a lot going on underneath and blending in. Unlike then when you go to Iraq and places like that, and then there's just jobs day in. Sometimes you'd be on not one, two, three jobs a day because you just fast reactions. So yeah.
On that point,